What have you made of racing in the time, the pandemic that we're in, since racing resumed? I know a lot has been made about the prize money situation. What are your thoughts on where we're at now, and when you look into the sort of crystal ball, what do you see?
We're racing. I mean, we're fortunate because, look, we're out here. So from the moment lockdown came, I spoke to everyone in the staff, all around, socially distanced. I said, what do you want to do? We all want to come in. And we had actually, strange to relate, 2 months of sunshine, 1 week of rain, and riding out here was a pleasure. And everyone was sort of jealous. Look, they're out having a nice time riding horses and in the beautiful sunshine, and I'm stuck in my house, flat, whatever, room. And they're all out. Well, we're working, but we were fortunate. And I think we kept emphasizing this with government, that, you know, you go to a race course, we're out in the open air. I feel desperate for people in the restaurant, hospitality business, theatres, that whole world where you're in confined spaces, and offices to that extent. But we are fortunate, and therefore we're able to break through on June the 1st and start racing. And the thing is, we've been able to race throughout. We've managed to run, whether you like it or not, the whole Guineas, Royal Ascot, Eclipses, the whole Goodwood meeting. You know, we've had a real derbies, Oaks. All right, it's been a concertina season, but we have had a season. And that in itself is a huge achievement for British racing and for Irish racing and French racing, and also Germany. So we've managed, because we're an outdoor activity and we're non-contact. I mean, if there's contact, it's a serious inquiry. So to that extent, we fit very well into the COVID-19 biosecurity requirements, which we've kept to. And I think to that extent you can applaud that. And of course, when we get crowds back and we get levy reform and development organised, then we can be looking at increasing of finance. But one thing at a time. I have to be concerned about it, yes.
Is there a solution, an obvious solution?
No, I just don't want to see too many horses disappearing abroad. You know, it's an old statistic, but 80% of horses are rated 80 and below, year in, year out. It's an average one. Now, once you get horses over 100, rated over 100, that is a tiny percentile. And those horses get snapped up. Hong Kong, Australia, America, and it's happening left, right and centre, and that dilutes the sheer quality of our racing. And it also renders us literally being a nursery for other parts of the world. You can't blame an owner. They've got a nice horse, they get offered all this money, well, that'll keep my ownership going for the next 5, 10 years. I've got to sell this one. But when you sell the family silver, you know what happens. And this has to be a huge problem.
Is the only solution to that sort of increase the prize money, or one of the I mean, obviously it's a solution, but how easy is that to do?
Well, it's not easy to do, but obviously if the racecourses don't have crowds, don't have hospitality, that part of income, that's a huge hit for them. Look, media rights income having been very big is obviously with the closing of betting shops. It is shrinking. Now the betting is going heavily online, streaming, and that is what the levy needs to be adjusted to equitable basis for the betting operators, for racing, for racecourses, to find a solution to that. But it'll have to be done quickly. We can't afford to keep losing our best horses abroad. I've already had, with major owners, horses go straight to America because they don't want them to race here anymore. And I've had quality horses already go to the States. And I've got 3 being lined up to go to Australia. Horses that I would dearly love to have run here the rest of the year and next year as 4-year-olds. So if it's happening in a yard of our size, with our owners, who you would have thought would be sort of bulletproof to that sort of thing, they're not. And they're looking at the fact that they can't continue having horses here with the costs or with the return. And remember, with an owner who comes into the game, they don't expect to be making money. It's just a question of how much do they lose. And if they're being taken for granted and everything they're putting in, they're getting absolutely nothing back, even when they have great success, they're bound to have to look elsewhere. They really are. You just got to be clear in our minds that it's not like they're going for a profit motive. They're just trying to control their losses. And I know they don't have to own a horse, but we'd be in a pretty funny old business if we didn't have people owning horses, wouldn't we?